This is a download of the film programme from BBC Radio. To find out more, visit bbc.co.uk/Radio4 and then follow signs to the film programme. Hello. Jennifer Lawrence, star of The Hunger Games, talks about politics, war and the art of cooking squirrels. The Dardenne Brothers, The Kid on a Bike. Is it a deceptively simple film or simply a simple film? Then there's the big success of a small film about a romantic weekend in Nottingham and the boldest of ambitions as Brian Cox gets to grips with what might be the greatest mind-boggling film never made.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Orson Welles. First of all, I'm going to divide this audience into two parts. You and everybody else in the theatre. Now then, open your eyes.
Brian Cox reading from the opening page of the screenplay Heart of Darkness, written in 1939, the script which failed to become Orson Welles' directing debut. More about that later. But first, a survivalist competition shown in sensational close-up live on national television. 24 young people are released into the wilderness with limited food and plenty of weapons and instructions to fight to the death. The brutal circus is a substitute for bread in the deprived districts of a dystopian state, which was once the USA, the setting for the Hunger Games. The latest contestant to be dragged from her family and district is a 16-year-old girl, Katniss Everdeen. Before she does battle in the woods, she must first scrub up to look appealing on a chat show designed to reveal her congeniality. And like any celebrity, she's counselled by a stylist.
I'm sorry that this happened to you. I'm here to help you in any way that I can.
Most people just congratulate me.
Well, I don't see the point in that. So tonight, we have the tribute parade. I'm gonna take you out and show you off to the world.
So you're here to make me look pretty?
I'm here to help you make an impression. Now, usually they dress people in the clothes from their district.
Yeah, we're always coal miners.
Yeah, but I don't want to do that. I want to do something that they're going to remember. Did they explain about trying to get sponsors?
Yeah, but I'm not very good at making friends.
Jennifer Lawrence as the reluctant competitor in The Hunger Games, talking to her stylist, played by Lenny Kravitz. Around the teen leads are supporting actors of the calibre of Stanley Tucci and Woody Harrelson. You might have come across the teen fiction series written by Suzanne Collins, which has sold 26 million copies since 2008. If not, then you could imagine a not entirely original mixture of Rollerball 1984 and The Truman Show, with added sequences of fascistic rallies and CGI fantasy. The film's producers are clearly hoping that with this huge readership, The Hunger Games will rival the Twilight films. They already have an advantage in a strong female lead. 2 years ago, when she was just 19, Jennifer Lawrence was nominated for an Oscar and a Golden Globe for her role as an avenging daughter in Winter's Bone. Since then, she's been one of the X-Men team and featured in the low-budget romance Like Crazy. The Hunger Games is action entertainment. There are also clear nods, however, to the paradoxes of reality television, celebrity culture, and indeed war reporting on television. So when we met, I asked Jennifer Lawrence if it was a political film.
We're not necessarily making a political statement of, yes, this is going to happen, this is what everybody has to be afraid of. I think that it's more just kind of this terrible reflection on us as society and kind of what happens when you lose touch with your humanity. And I think the reason that it does hit home as hard as it does is because we do live in this world where we use other people's tragedy for entertainment, and we do live in a world where history repeats itself and where governments can take control over their people by keeping them separated and weak and hungry so that they're not strong enough to fight back. But I don't think that we're saying one day there's going to be a reality show and this is going to I think that that's just kind of how we're representing the control that the government has taken and something that makes the people angry enough to start to fight back.
In two films that I've seen you in Winter's Bone and this, you get to cook a squirrel.
I know.
Eat it. Oh, what are the chances?
I have no idea. I need to find a new Oscar trick. I don't know what it is with me and squirrels. I've always thought that they're really cute, but now I feel like I'm gonna have squirrels lining up outside my door pretty soon.
People be queuing up for it.
Yeah.
We all picked up a lot of tips now from the squirrel roasting element. But I suppose there is a question that we know that they're going to be sequels to the Hunger Games, and people who've read the books will know what the outcome is. So in a sense, the traditional tension of whether you're going to survive this or not, it's not so much whether, is it perhaps more how?
Yeah, there are 3 books, so you know she's going to make it. She's going to be alive. But she just has this vulnerability where you can't help but thinking she's going to die at any moment. You're not following a James Bond or a Lara Croft that's got all the tools and has done it a million times, and we're just watching how they win. she's a young girl and genuinely thinks she can and will die. She just keeps trying. So I found that with the books, and hopefully people find it in the movie, that there's still is kind of so much vulnerability that even though you can't help but thinking, is she going to die?
It's interesting because obviously it's a film for a youngish audience and a big audience, and it shows the sort of the emptiness, the sort of vacuity of the celebrity culture and these shows where people are all dressed up and the ridiculous kind of fashions. And yet the irony is at the same time, so the person who gives her the last piece of advice and who's so important to her is her stylist. So it kind of wants to have it both ways.
Yeah. He was kind of her saving grace in that sense, the only person that she had met in that world. It was kind of a bizarre friendship bloomed there.
It almost says that, the important thing is you should, have integrity and be yourself, but at the same time looking good is important too, maybe.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was preparing her for a press campaign, which is getting people to like you. In their case, to save their life. In our case, it's go see our movie because you liked my interview. In their case, it's like me and save my life. So I think that it was that he is just a stylist, but he's helping her to kind of show these sponsors and to highlight herself and put her in this certain light that could end up saving her life, hopefully.
Now, you're already, because I think you turn 22 this year, do you? Or have you already?
Yeah, I just realized that when you said that. I was like, no way.
Later on this year, you turned 22. But you've been in the business since you were 14 or so. So already, you're a veteran and you've already got an Oscar nomination, which is great. Now, you've worked, I know, with Jodie Foster. I wondered whether you had any discussions with her about, starting your career so early on, the kind of trajectory it might have.
The only kind of miniature conversation we had about it was just that it's all so overrated. Everybody puts so much kind of pressure into it when really you just have to, whatever, it's a job. You just kind of, and everything that I learned from Jodie was never from her preaching, because she never does. It's honestly just from watching her. She was not only nice and friendly to everybody and kind and brilliant, but she was normal, completely normal.
And the fact is that the lead actors here are relatively young, well, very young in some cases, but you're surrounded by a whole cast of extremely well-known actors like Frances McDormand, like Stanley Tucci, Woody Harrelson. How does that feel in a sense, because you are the stars and they are the supporting players?
Didn't feel like that on set, obviously, since I was always kind of nervous around them, and it doesn't feel that way when they're kind of your heroes and idols and acting legends, and I'm just a 21-year-old idiot showing up to work. So in retrospect, that's an incredible, weird, amazing thing. But on set, it definitely did not feel that way at all.
Jennifer Lawrence and The Hunger Games is released certificate 12A, not just nationwide, but just about everywhere around the world. But this is not simply a film, it's what the vast film PR machine calls an event film. One expected to run for weeks, one expected to more than return its, in this case, $100 million investment. The Twilight films clearly fell into this category, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, and the preeminent example could be James Cameron's Avatar, to be followed in the next few weeks, possibly by his 3D version of his own Titanic.